In Chapter 6 of The Smartphone Paradox, the social disconnection of a hyperconnected world, Dr. Reed talks about how smartphones have messed with social interactions and they have made people feel more isolated despite being constantly connected. He talks about how the digital communication lacks the depth and richness of an in face interaction, as well as it's leading to weakened social bonds and a decline in empathy. He also talks about how smartphone use interferes with real world relationships, um, and they take away from our being present in interactions with other people because they're a distraction. Um, he says how while smartphones enable instant communication, they also create a sense of disconnection and loneliness, and people are just constantly texting and scrolling and engaging in conversations over the phone. Yet studies show that the rates of loneliness and depression have increased since we entered the smartphone era. Reed references a study that found a direct correlation between increased smartphone usage and higher levels of loneliness in younger users. And this is just kind of ironic because the whole point is to kind of keep us more connected, but it's really just doing the opposite. Reed discusses how smartphones have reduced. I'm going to pause right there because I just caught myself, my phone lit up, and I just looked over, and that's a really good point of exactly what we're talking about. And I paused to look at it. Anyways, he cites research showing that children and teenagers who spend more time on screens develop weaker interpersonal skills compared to those who engage in regular face-to-face interaction. He talks about phone snubbing, which is where people ignore the people around them in favor of their devices, which I know that myself and also a bunch of my friends from high school are definitely we do this. There's been so many times where I've been in conversations with my friends back home specifically that I can remember where I just feel like I'm talking to a wall or vice versa. Like we're on our phones and it's like, "Oh, hey Ava, what time is it?" No response. And it's just it's frustrating. It's disrespectful to the people you're around. He also argues that eye contact, body language, and tone of voice, which are all components of a meaningful conversation, are lost in text based interactions, which I completely agree with because I also think that if you are in a text argument with someone, you're quickly losing what they're saying because you don't understand their tone, you don't understand their body language, and without that, you can't fully understand what they're saying, which you can take things the wrong way sometimes. He also talks about how social media platforms create an artificial sense of validation. Um, People seek approval through likes, shares, and comments rather than personal interactions. So, in my opinion, I read this kind of being like, when I post a picture on Instagram, sometimes I'm like, damn, okay, how many likes is this gonna get? But realistically, if I saw 13 people in one day that told me, "Oh my God, Lola, your hair looks great today," 13 compliments is in one day is a ton. And with social media, we're like, "Oh my God, I only got 13 likes on that," which is just mind blowing. He talks about the phenomenon of Snapchat streaks, where maintaining daily digital interactions becomes more important than having a meaningful conversation. I think this was more back when I was in middle school because I remember streaks were such a big thing back then, but now as I'm older, I do more use Snapchat to kind of actually communicate with people I care about. I'm not sending streaks. I have them, but that's just because we talk every day. He talks about FOMO, which I think is huge when it comes to social media because I know when my friends are going out or doing something and I didn't go and I see it posted everywhere, I'm like, oh, I wish I could have been there. And especially influencers or famous people posting, it's like, wow, like, I wish I was at the Met Gala. I wish I was doing this or that. And it does make you feel lonely. It does lower your self-esteem. So I really felt like I understood this chapter well. Yeah.